What happened at your work that caused multiple people to all quit at once? The day my hospital's entire night shift walked out started like any other Tuesday. I was a nurse at a hospital for 3 years, dealing with impossible patient ratios and mandatory overtime that had become our twisted version of normal. Our unit had been chronically understaffed for months, running at about 60% capacity while administration kept promising replacements that never came. That night, I clocked in at 7 p.m. to find our charge nurse, Diane, looking more stressed than usual. They denied our request for travel nurses again, she whispered as she handed me my patient assignments. Says we need to optimize our workflow instead. The familiar weight of dread settled in my stomach as I looked at my assignment sheet. 8 patients, 3 of them critical. The safe ratio should have been 4 patients max. By 8 p.m., all 7 of us on shift were running between rooms, barely keeping up with medications and vital checks. The call lights kept blinking, but there simply weren't enough of us to answer them all. At 9 a.m., everything changed. A massive pileup on interstate involving 3 semis and 12 cars sent 17 trauma patients to our ER simultaneously. The hospital called a code triage, meaning all available personnel needed to report to the emergency department. But here's the thing about being understaffed. There was no available personnel. It was just us 7 nurses, already drowning with our current patients. Our hospital director, Ms. Winters, finally made an appearance, designer heels clicking against the floor as she barked orders at everyone. Why isn't anyone responding to room 215? She demanded, pointing at the blinking call light. For the next 5 hours, we performed what felt like battlefield medicine. I hadn't used the bathroom once, hadn't taken a sip of water, and my feet had gone numb hours ago. All of us were moving nonstop, assessing trauma patients, administering emergency medications, calling families, documenting everything we could. Through it all, Ms. Winters stood at the nurses' station, occasionally barking commands, but mostly just texting on her phone. Not once did she offer to help pass medications or even answer a call light. She had been a nurse once, 20 years ago, before climbing the administrative ladder and apparently forgetting what the job actually entailed. By 3 a.m., the immediate crisis had stabilized. 2 patients had passed despite our best efforts. The rest were holding steady, though 5 remained in critical condition. We were all physically and emotionally spent, running on pure adrenaline and muscle memory. That's when Ms. Winters called us for an emergency meeting at the nurses' station. We assumed it would be about the crisis management or maybe even, foolishly, some acknowledgement of our efforts. Instead, she pointed to the break room where disposable coffee cups and chocolate bar wrappers had accumulated during the chaos. This is completely unacceptable, she said. This hospital has standards, and this kind of mess reflects poorly on all of us. She continued while we stood there in disbelief, our scrubs still stained with blood and other bodily fluids from the patients. Due to the continuous issues with workplace cleanliness and time management, we'll be implementing mandatory training sessions starting next week. These will be unpaid and attendance is required to maintain employment. The silence that followed was deafening. Diane, our charge nurse, was the first to move. Without saying a word, she unpinned her ID badge, placed it gently on the counter, and said, "I don't work for people who don't value human life." Then, one by one, all of us followed. Ms. Winters' face transformed from annoyed to panicked as she realized what was happening. "You can't all leave. That's patient abandonment." Diane looked her straight in the eye. "We'll complete proper handoff to incoming staff as required by law, but after that, we're done." Ms. Winters frantically started calling administrators, but at 3 a.m., nobody was answering. The reality was sinking in. She had 43 patients, many critical, and no nurses to care for them. By morning, the hospital was in full crisis mode. The CEO himself called each of us, offering emergency rates of double our normal pay to come back. Within 24 hours, Ms. Winters had been transferred to a position without staff management. Within a week, 6 travel nurses had arrived to support our unit.